I found this statue of the Virgin Mary lying next to a dumpster. It was too heavy to throw into the dumpster. I don't know who would do such a thing, but this statue of Our Lady caught my eye. I walked over and looked, and she's broken in half at the waist. Her hands are missing. She looked so cold and abandoned, her eyes just looking up at me. And that's when I heard a voice I'll never forget. This stern voice said, "Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother?" I ended up taking the statue. I kept her because she was broken, and so was I. I took her home and I called a priest, and he came and blessed her. And that's when the miracles began. First, I had this urge to recite the Rosary. I didn't even have a rosary or know what a rosary really was. But Mary herself, she taught me her rosary. And when you recite and hold her rosary, you are holding the hand of Mary. And when you hold the hand of Mary, you're holding the power of God. And that power can heal everyone who's broken. So many people have touched the statue of broken Mary. Some are sick, many have addictions. So many are afraid or dying of loneliness. Many have contemplated suicide, and some are serving life in prison. We all are broken. It's humbling to go to Mary and say, "Mary, the mother of Jesus, please, please, Mary, be my mother today." This world is moving so fast. Maybe it's time to stop and close your eyes and finally be with God.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Kevin Matthews.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. How many know who I am? All right. How many have no idea? Be honest. You have great guardian angels. They've been working overtime until now. So the doors are going to lock, and for the next 5.5 hours, you're going to get to know who I am. Thank you so much. It's so great to be back here in Riverside at St. Mary's. I've never been here before. I'd like to thank Father and Jen and Tony and Joe and the crew and everybody for coming here. Chicago is, this is where I'm back in Riverside, and so much happened here. And I haven't been here in Riverside. Larry Wirt was my boss at the Loop. Do you remember the Loop? Oh, that was a fun station, wasn't it? Very educational, right? I mean, that was NPR-ish kind of like, right? Oh, we all grew up together. And Larry was my boss. Larry's in Riverside. He said, "You know, Kevin, I used to be an altar boy at St. Mary's." He called me last night from Cleveland. I said, "Are you coming?" He goes, "No, I can't make it." Bless you. He said, "I was a altar boy at St. Mary's, and I got kicked out." I can't believe Larry Wirt got kicked out. He almost got kicked out of Riverside Golf Course. He's been kicked out of so many places with me. He said, "Yeah, I accidentally started a fire when I was an altar boy." How do you do that? He said it happened during a wedding. So it's nice to be at Larry's alma mater. And you folks up there, how are you? Good. You know, I have had the best time in Chicago. This is where so much began. And I was out with Father. I had never met Father. And tonight we had a little snack, if you will. I didn't want to load up before I came out here. And so Father's very kind, and Tony and his wife, you know, they took us out just before the show. And I really don't know who they are. And I'm really trying And the waiter comes up and he goes, okay, can I get you a round of drinks? And I'm thinking to myself, should I break the ice? Because they go, yeah, I'll take an iced tea, or I'll just have water. I was going to say, I'll take a triple scotch. No, don't do that, don't do that. But there's something that I can't help when I get back into Chicago, folks. It's a wonder that I'm alive. First of all, yeah, there is a guardian angel. I don't know who mine is. I hopefully will meet that person someday. That person has worked overtime. I've been married for 36 years to Deb. Yes, please. She is an angel. She is an absolute angel. 30 years here in radio. It was a great time. Johnny Red Kerr. You know, when I got back to Riverside tonight, I was thinking, Johnny Red Kerr, the announcer for the Bulls, he played for the Bulls, he coached. He used to live here in Riverside. And Johnny was like a dad to me. He was like an adopted dad to me, and we drove by his house today, and I miss Johnny. You know, we've lost a lot of just great people. And life is so short, and here I am. I had somebody walk up to me and go, so when'd you become a Jesus freak? I'm like, what? You know, Jesus freak. You got really Jesus-y on us. I'm thinking, what is Jesus-y? I had another person come and go, you know, you're really into that Mary lady. God's more my dude. And I'm thinking those are wise words. They should be etched in stone. Mary, that lady thing, God is my dude. I'm all in, folks. I had a great time. I really have had a great time, and people, we're here tonight. There's no such thing as a coincidence, okay? I always say that, and some of you have come to see me in other churches, and you're tired of hearing me say that, but there's no such thing as a coincidence. There isn't. I found out that word coincidence really means there's no such thing as a coincidence. They were wondering how many people are going to show up tonight. And I said, the people that'll show up are the people that are supposed to be here. Really are. I will tell you up front that this is not about me. I should be dead. I am not thunder and bolts of lightning, and I'm going to tell you what to do. I am here because of Mary. I really am here because of Mary. And what an amazing woman she is. How many people would like to go to heaven? Okay, a few of you not quite sure. I don't know. Do you know that a friend of mine that I met, she's a nun, she's told me, do you know that you have to become a saint to get into heaven? I said, sister, that counts me out. There's no way. She said, no, not a canonized saint. Sanctity. You have to earn the virtue of Mary. Let's just talk about Mary tonight. Because I've had people say, you know, you love Mary too much. You better stop that. You love her too much. She's just a woman. And I say, you know, there's no way I'm going to outlove the love Jesus had for his mom. A friend of mine, his father Mark, you'll hear more about him tonight. His mother is 93. I love her to death. And Father Mark knows that. Father Mark doesn't come up to me and say, hey, would you back off on my mom? What about me? I'm a priest. There's something about Mary. And tonight we're going to talk about Mary. Mary's here now. Mary's here now. She's not just a cartoon or a story or maybe it happened. She's here now. How did this all happen? I worked here in 30 years in Chicago. I was born in Michigan. I got married in Michigan. I went to school in Michigan, went to college. I chased a girl. I used to work at a drugstore outside Detroit. Her name was Dawn. She was so beautiful. And I worked there. She was 16. I worked there for 4 years. She worked the cards. She was so beautiful. I loved her. She didn't know it. I think she did. But she wanted to go to Grand Valley, and so I thought, I'll go to Grand Valley. We get up to Grand Valley, and she dusts me like an end table. She's out of Grand Valley in the first term. She's out to Ferris. And I meet this beautiful woman, Debbie. We get married. There's no such thing as a coincidence. Debbie took classes to become Catholic. One of my favorite homilies of the year is when Father will say, God knows who you are before you're even born. Think of that. He knows who you are before you're even born. If we could you hit, and this is Joe, by the way, and he's got so many patients. Could you hit number 2, Joe? These are slides. Fatima. This is good. This whole story, the reason I was born, because of Fatima. I've been called to Fatima. I didn't know that when I was here in Chicago. Debbie, my wife, she took the name Bernadette Subaru, from Lourdes. Debbie also, there's no such thing as a coincidence. In the year 2000, she took her mother and her Aunt Linda. They went all over Europe. And on Mother's Day, they were in Portugal. Fatima. They didn't mean to, but of all the days, Fatima. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people waving white handkerchiefs for Our Lady. Fatima, these 3 shepherd children. Lucy, 10. Francisco, he was 8. And little Jacinta, she's 7. 1917. From May until October, Our Lady comes to these 3 shepherd children. There's more on that tonight. Debbie comes home. It's the year 2000. She said Fatima was beautiful. She had a driver take the 3 of them throughout all of Fatima. They spent the whole day there. I didn't know what Fatima was. I'm like, great. I went to a Cubs game. We had a golf outing, got kicked out of that. Yeah. I was out with Bill Murray. What's Fatima? And she had this. She bought this in Fatima. So here it is, 2000. This was in the house. In 2005, I left Chicago because the radio industry is starting to implode. Newspapers, television, iPhones. Look at the technology. You know, the iPhone is only 11 years old. And it was imploding. I wanted to come back to Michigan just to start over, program some stations, just start over. And so I did. I thought, we're going to sell the house like that. No, that's when the housing market started to crash. Oh, great me, I'm commuting back and forth for 4 years. Oh yeah, it's great. Awesome. So I'm doing the radio show. I'm doing a morning show in Grand Rapids where it was the first station I ever worked at. It's 7:16 on a Tuesday in the morning. Suddenly, I can't move. I can't move my hand, my arm, my leg feels like a pole telephone poles, like 700 pounds. Am I having a stroke? I find out later, I went to a neurologist, I come back to Rush, this female neurologist, she said, we took the MRI, you may have a brain tumor. You have something here. And I thought, I was with my wife and I said, well, at least I have a brain, honey. You thought it was located somewhere else too. Wrong. So they were about an hour away of doing a brain biopsy, and all I'm thinking is the Three Stooges. Remember where they used to drill the hole? I'm thinking, that's gonna hurt. But they found out, they go, no, it's not a brain tumor. You've got MS. I'm jumping up and down. Cool, what's that? What is that? I called it multiple. I got it so butchered, I didn't even know what I had. All I know is treatment starting. It's gonna be tough. All I had in the house, I was a Catholic. Our kids went, we baptized them, they went communion, whatnot. All I had in the house was this when I went to treatment. When they said a brain tumor, I had this in my hand. Look at that face of Mary. I can remember I put that in my pocket. She was so that face of comfort. I didn't know what Fatima was. I hardly knew what this lady was, but it was religious, right? Hey, tell your son to help me out. Lady, you hang out with that lady too much. God is my dude. And finally, I'm going through treatment, I'm still commuting. It was St. Patty's Day, 2009, okay? Now, St. Patty's Day. I'm downtown, I gotta go out to the western suburbs, Clarendon Hills. And the St. Patty's Day through Grant Park, I can't take the Stevenson, I've gotta take the Eisenhower. I hate the Eisenhower. They drive really fast on the Eisenhower, right? I have to take the Eisenhower. So I get on the Eisenhower and I hear a voice. I read from my book tonight. I did. I was in the car reading because I'm an author. I am such a loser. I'm reading the first chapter, and my mom said that I always used to look up at the sky when I was really little and talk to myself. And I said that I was talking to people up in the sky all the time. And my mom, who was such a saint, she just let me go, you know. Wow, you gave birth to a crazy horse-headed weirdo. So I'm on the Eisenhower, fast traffic, and all of a sudden I hear this voice. Go to the cemetery. I knew exactly what cemetery. Hear voices all the time. Go to the cemetery. In early 90s in the Tribune, they wrote about Queen of Heaven Cemetery and apparitions of Mary and Christ. Oh yeah, it's still happening. We took the kids, and when we went, all kinds of kids, all kinds of families were there. And they were taking pictures, and you could see these orbs, and you know, it felt really good. I said to my wife, you know, I don't know what happened, but that was kind of cool. Did feel peaceful, didn't it, honey? Kids liked it. So that was the cemetery. So I go and I have to exit Wolf Road, and I hear the voice again, go to the cemetery. I drive and I start going down Wolf Road, and there's the cemetery. This cemetery is a monster cemetery, it's huge. It's where Al Capone's buried. You can get lost so easy. And I drive through the cemetery and I go right to, could you do me a favor and hit 15? It's early in the morning, St. Patty's Day, not a cloud in the sky, and I come to this cross. It should be number 15. We're working it out. This is just a rehearsal. Yeah, 15. Any of them. No. That one. There he is. That's him. This is excellent, isn't it? Yeah. Technically, it was great. But here it is, St. Patty's Day, not a cloud in the sky, 11 o'clock. I'm looking at this cross, and I'm all by myself. There's nobody out in the parking lot, and I have this book in my hand. I take it out of the visor, and I decide, am I going to get out of the truck? I'm scared, folks. I have no idea what's going to happen. I can hardly walk. How can I do radio? What is, so I said, you know what? There's a guy in a van, and I thought, what's this guy going to think I am all about? And I just said, you know what? I got to go. So I took this, walked to that cross. And if you look, it's tall. And I had to reach for Jesus' feet. And I had this in my hand. And I said, humbled. I'm out of luck. Jesus, help me. I am so afraid. And I was. Suddenly, water starts coming down on my hands and my arm. Lots of water. Not a cloud in the sky. Suddenly, I can move my arm, my hand. And I take that water and I rub it on my head. I rub it on my leg. I felt no fear. I could move this. I couldn't even work a mouse. How am I going to do a computer? They've tested this. This arm is stronger than this arm. I walked back to the truck. I drove home and said, Debbie, I can move my hand. I can move this. I didn't have the fear. And I went on about my business. Never forgot that, but went on with my business. I had nothing really, but I went to that cross. I finally, through treatment, we sold the house. Debbie moves to Grand Rapids. I knew a priest, Father Mark, St. Anthony's Parish. He's a good guy. I met him a long time ago, and I'd went to church. I looked him up. I was being a good Catholic. I go every 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Yeah, well, it was great. Finally, I went to confession. Oops. I had to tell them about Riverside. I had to tell him about 9 other golf courses. I had to tell him that I hadn't been to confession since I was like 8, when I made my first one. But I went. I just threw it all out there. This guy's never going to want to talk to me again. This guy's going to kick me out of here. It's going to be in the press. Allison Rosati's going to catch wind. It's going to be horrible. It wasn't. I literally started to go to church. Debbie's moved over. 2011, radio's just imploded. I get fired. Wow. 30 years in the business. See the movie Goodfellas? Ray Liotta? When he's in the witness protection program, they move him to Arizona after all that time, and the red sauce tastes like ketchup. This is where it's at. That was my radio career. 30 years, you're out. 2 weeks notice. I can remember being at a grocery store going, how am I going to feed my wife and I? What am I going to do for money? What am I going to do? 2 weeks notice. It just snowed. It was in November 2011. 2 weeks' pay. And I hear that voice again. That one that said, go to the cemetery, said, go buy your wife some flowers. My wife has been through everything, and I'm cleaning it up. She's been married to me. When someone with MS or a disease or cancer, their family goes through that too. And I heard that voice, go get your wife some flowers. Yeah, I got 2 weeks' notice. I'll go get her some flowers. No coincidence, there's a flower shop. I pull into the flower shop. I got MS. I hate snow. It just snowed, and it's slippery. I get out of my car, and I'm starting to walk towards the door, and I can't help but look over at this dumpster, this filthy dumpster. And I see a statue of Mary. And I walk over to the dumpster. And there is this statue, this beautiful statue of Mary, lying face up. She's broken in half right at the waist. She has no hands. Her eyes are looking at me. She's covered in mud and weeds. And there was a McDonald's wrapper on Mary. Wow. I looked at her, and then I heard a different voice that said, will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? It's haunting. And when this happens, everything happens so quickly. I mean, so quickly. I look back at this, it happens lightning quick. And I turn and I walk towards the door, and I go in. There's a clerk. I'm the only one there. Can I help you? Yes, I'd like to buy that statue that's out at the dumpster of Mary. Oh, that's not for sale. It's a family heirloom. Thinking, great. I hear that voice again. Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? Quickly, I think maybe I'll steal it. No, I can't steal it. Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? Go home. Leave it alone. Suddenly, I just said, I'll give to the nuns that live out around here. I didn't know there were nuns that lived out around here. It just came out. I had met some nuns like 5 years earlier, and they were little brown ladies with things. And I said, I'll give money to the nuns that live out around here somewhere. I know they're here. I'll find them. In your name, I'll give money. She goes, I recognize your voice. You're that guy on the radio. You're Kevin Matthews. You got fired. What happened? Oh, well, I got 2 weeks severance pay, and I'm going to buy some flowers. And I said, no, I'll give money in your name if I can take Mary, please. She says, yes, go ahead. I didn't even buy flowers for my wife. I get out, and I'm trying to walk, and I don't want to talk about women's weight, but she's heavy. Whoa. I mean, I pick up the first half, down to the legs, and she is heavy out of concrete. And I'm walking to the truck, and I made this little bed. There was a blanket, and there's her half. Then I went and I got the upper half, and I looked at her in these eyes, and I looked, and I'm walking it. I swear it took me a half hour, because I'm like, it's so slippery. I am now an old man. And I put her in the truck, and I drove off home. I can remember I turned the radio off. I don't want to hear that anymore. They fired me. I turned up the heat, and I said, Mary, I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. So I take her home, make a little bed in the garage, and she was there. And I called up Father Mark, who gave me confession. I said, hey, Father, I found this statue of Mary by a dumpster she's broken in half. Do you know anybody that could fix her? What should I do? He goes, yeah, in the spring, there's a monument maker. Gives me the name. So I go about life. But she's in the garage. And I got her all a little bed. It's just really, it's like Bed Bath & Beyond. I mean, she's as comfortable as I can make her. And I just look at her and I say, hi, Mary, how are you? I'm still smoking back then. Hey, Mary, how are you? Yeah. And I finally, that spring, load her back in the car. Yes, there's a monument maker. He looks at her in the truck and he goes, yeah, I can fix her. We can put her all back together again. I can paint her. I can put new hands on her. You won't even be able to tell she's broke. That's when I broke down and cried in front of a man who's like, who is this idiot? I said, no. I said, she reminds me of me. I'm broken. I really am. I have a job, got this great disease. I'm broken. I said, no, let's just put her back together, leave her hands, don't paint her. And I took her home. I called up Father Mark, and he's become a good friend. And I said, will you bless her? Come over to my house and bless her, have dinner. He blessed her. That's when the miracles began. Seriously, that's when the miracles began. The first miracle, and they're not canonized miracles. They're miracles to me. I started having dreams, vivid dreams. Can you hit, yeah, go ahead, not that one. I'm sorry, folks. It's little, Oliver, number 3. I started having dreams about roses, literally roses. And I'm like, roses, roses, roses. I woke up, and it was as though Mary said, for every child, this is Oliver. I found out. He used to listen to me in Grand Rapids, his mom. He's 7 years old. You see that hospital band? He's 7 years old. He's the same age as little Jacinta was. He's at DeVos Children's Hospital. Cancer. For some reason, I had the urge and the duty to buy for every child who has ever been treated at DeVos Children's Hospital a rose in Mary's honor. How am I going to pay for that? That's thousands of roses. That's over 3,000 roses. I've got 2 weeks severance pay. I called up a florist that I'd known. He donated the flowers. The flowers were inside DeVos Children's Hospital. That was the first public picture ever taken of Broken Mary with little Oliver. He was out of treatment, still in the hospital. He was out of treatment, radiation treatment, and he loved that statue. He didn't think about cancer that day. All these roses, all these kids with cancer came down to smell roses and see the statue of Broken Mary. And they could relate to being broken. It's okay to be broken. We're all broken. It hurts tremendously when the little ones are broken. But he didn't have cancer when he had that moment, that photograph. We suddenly got press. Kevin Matthews has his statue, and it made news, so it starts to roll. I decided I'll call this the Broken Mary Project. Oliver died. Oliver became so close to me and so close to others, and he became a spokesperson of Broken Mary. This is what I found at the dumpster. This is Broken Mary. If you notice, this is what little Oliver touched. If you notice, there's scratches and breaks and her hands are missing and she's scraped, but there's not one mark on her face. I can't believe that, because you should have seen her where she was at that dumpster. I look back at it just recently and I thought, when she was at that dumpster, she was in the mud. She had been there a while. How many people saw her and just walked away? How many people may have heard that voice, "Will you deny me? Will you deny her?" and just walked away? I can relate to that now. That phrase, "Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother?" You're going to hear that more and more and more and more and more now. How many people saw that statue and did nothing? How many people do that now? Mary who? Jesus what? It becomes a mantra now. I'm not saved. I have no guarantee going into heaven, but I hear that all the time. Suddenly, more miracles started to happen. Finally, I had to pay the nuns. Darn it. I hate this Catholic stuff. Okay. So my 2 weeks severance pay is really getting down there, right? But I went out and Father Mark went out, and there are the Franciscan nuns. Wow, these little nuns, and they are little. There's a height requirement for Franciscans. Not like the Carmelites, but the Franciscans, they're the little ones down here. And I felt like if you saw the movie E.T., when they just kind of got me and just walked, and there was just nuns, and we had dinner, and there was a few guests there, and I told them about Broken Mary, and I told them, we're all broken. I felt broken. We're all broken. That's what Broken Mary is. That's what the Broken Mary Project's all about. We're all broken, but we're loved by God. Father Mark, we're driving home, he goes, "You know what? That'd make a really good homily." I go, "What's a homily?" He goes, "Well, I'll show you. Why don't you do all Sunday masses, okay?" He wants me to get up and talk about the story of Broken Mary and how we're all broken. 7:30 Mass. Oh, is it early? And here I am talking about Broken Mary. I've done stand-up comedy, 65,000, Grant Park, Zanies, da-da-da. This was different. No laughs, nothing. The Broken Mary, it was beautiful. And I can remember the 7:30 Mass, I get done, and I hear that voice again. "Say a Hail Mary for my mother." It was that stern voice. "Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother?" Suddenly, within a split second, "Say a Hail Mary for my mother." I haven't said a Hail Mary since I was in 4th grade. And the Catholic nun that was teaching us the Hail Mary, I was chewing gum, and she went through my throat, and I bass fish, and I know what it's like to get a Rapala lure out of your throat. That's what I remember about the Hail Mary. Now suddenly, I decide it's the end. I said, "Why don't we say a Hail Mary for Mary?" And Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen." Thank you. Good night. I got through that. Now comes the 9 o'clock Mass. Same thing, did the homily, we're all broken, and I'm not kidding you, I heard that voice, "Say a Hail Mary for my mother." Do it again. Get through it. Get done with the 10 o'clock Mass. I go over to Father Mark and I go, "I'm dying. I'm dying up here. I've done comedy. I know dying. Okay, I am dying. I'm not a headliner." He said, "Turn, look at." There were women on their knees, and small children with broken Mary, praying to her. It's Mary. Did the 11:30 Mass, heard the voice again, say a Hail Mary for my mother. I take Mary home and I look back at it. It's as though Jesus said, I'm going to leave you with my mom. That's what I'm going to do. You have my mom, I'm going to leave you with my mom. Then I started to think about that. I've got Jesus' mom. She's in the house now. And I got to be careful. I'm serious. That's Jesus' mom. And she's had me since 2011. Here she is tonight. Your mother loves you to death. Mary is your mother. Some of us have lost our moms. Some of us don't have moms. Mary is your mother. Remember when you were little? My mom, I think I was 3 years old, and she had white blouse and white skirt, and I was eating chocolate pudding. And I was muddy anyways, and I took this chocolate pudding and I got in a fight with my twin sister, and she's got chocolate pudding, and I can remember I just had chocolate pudding all over my mom. I was filthy, she was mad, and I'll never forget that day. That's what Mary's like. I don't care how dirty you are or how messy you are, Mary will clean you up. Especially when you love her. I will tell you, if you leave tonight and you have one thing to say about me, I will never deny Mary. I will die for Mary. I love Mary. I adore Mary. I made a vow to Mary in Fatima, Portugal. I will never hurt you again. Mary's been cleaning me up. And she cleans me up today. She'll clean you up. Not that you have to be clean. Today, I know what my purpose is. We go back to the Franciscan nuns. People were starting to take broken Mary in their homes. She's been in hospitals. People have died with her. She has been in emergency rooms. She's been in prisons. This summer, I was invited to come and speak to some prisoners, lifers. Broken Mary, the book, is a big hit with prisoners. Lifers. They feel broken, thrown away, don't care about them. When I saw these prison inmates, I said, Mary, help me on this one. People say, what's it like to be in prison? I had one person, what's it like to be in prison? I said, I don't know, you tell me. I see your Facebook, what you post on Facebook. You're in prison. You hate everything. You got a job, you hate that. You hate this, you hate that, you hate this. You're in prison. You tell me what prison's like. When I saw these prison inmates, they have 1 hour break a day. They could have been out in the yard. They chose to be with Mary. And these lifers, I don't know what they did. I don't want to know what they did. I can't judge them. I'll clean them up when I get my life in order. These people were hard people. And I saw one prison inmate who was holding a rosary, and he was crying. He said to me, you know, I'll never leave prison. I'll never leave prison. I'm condemned to die here. And I said, you know, you get to choose, though, where you go. Eternity. He smiled. I often say this, that the world we're in right now, it's like O'Hare Airport. This world is we're here for such a short time. And the next destination we choose is up to us. God doesn't send us to hell, we do. We get to choose where we want to go, where our next destination is, and it's for eternity. Doesn't matter what you do, you have until your last breath to say, be with me, I'm sorry. And God will do that. We wrote the book, and there was a little nun, Franciscan nun. Father Mark, all these people were taking her, and she's getting press, and Father Mark goes, you really ought to write this stuff down. And he said, okay. He introduced us to little, and she's little, I'm sorry, she's little. She's the littlest. And I call her Sister Lucia, and we went out to lunch with Father Mark. And Father Mark goes, Sister, she's a writing professor at Grand Valley State University. And I thought, great, she can write the book. I'll sell this one. Having lunch, tell her about all these stories. Will you write the book? She goes, no, I'm not going to write the book. I'm not going to write the book. You'd write the book. And I go, I don't know how to spell. She looks at me and she goes, I got spell check, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Get up. I don't know. We get up. She goes to their Mother Superior, Sister Colleen Ann, who I absolutely love. She goes, I am not writing a book with that satanic man. He has worked with Howard Stern, everybody. I'm not doing it. I've heard his radio show. No, 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 no. Sister Colleen Ann said, yes, 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 you need to. Oh, man. And she acted like the producer. So she would ask questions. The first question she asked me, I'm going to be an author. She goes, tell me about your college radio station. Well, I decided, you know what? I can't lie. I'm done doing that. I'm just going to vomit this up. Here we go. We lost the station. The FCC took it away, college radio station. I said one morning that the president of Grand Valley was murdered and there's no class. Come on. So the whole station went away. It was the best radio station I've ever worked at. And I write all this stuff down, and she just wrote back, oh my. So it keeps going. For about a year, she was asking me these questions, and I'm still taking Broken Mary out and everything. I'm unemployed. I don't have a job. So finally, she's starting to ease up a little bit, but man, is she strict. We were at Culver's having a hamburger because she wanted to, and it happened to be, I order the hamburger for her, I bring it back, and I dig in, and she's, Kevin! And all these people, Culver's is so packed, and people I know are going, isn't that Kevin Matthews? What is he doing with the nun? What's up with that? What happened to him? We're going to say, hey, Grace, da-da-da-da-da. That's what she was like. She finally decided, I'm going to send, it's done, rough draft. She sends the draft to 3 of the biggest publishing companies in America. They all want the book. She can't believe it. Told you, sister. I remember she said, okay, the book was done and we had to read through it for mistakes, and you've got all these people reading for misspelled words. I started to read the book, and I had to put it away. I hated the book because it was haunting. When I grew up, people say, when did you become a Jesus freak? Really at the age of 6. Because in my house, outside Detroit, it was a war going on in my house with my dad and alcohol, riots, Vietnam. For a scary little kid, I can remember seeing Oswald being shot, Kennedy being shot. I don't know, he's a president. And I just wanted God to take me to heaven back then. I said, God, will you please take me to heaven? Never did. Here I am with a nun, writing a book. It's a bidding war. We go with Beacon Press, Matthew Kelly. She can't believe it. we get a $10,000 bonus for writing the book. For some reason, a lot has been happening since the book was written. If you can you hit, we're almost done, 2.5 hours. Can you hit number 8? I still had this book. And I knew that it's 2015, I knew that the Fatima, I started to learn a little bit more about Fatima. And I'm sorry, that's a good slide too. I love Padre Pio. He's the best. You know what? It's number 8. Oh, that's us. Yeah, there she is. There's Sister. Isn't she little? That's us. And we're recording the Rosary app, because one thing that happens with Mary is after about 2012, that's when I found her, by 2013, I get this desire to learn the Rosary. I'm going to do it for Lent. Said, Father Mark, I'm going to learn the Rosary. Do it for Lent. It comes Lent, I have to Google how to say the Rosary. I don't even know how. I get this recording of this little Irish priest, and he's doing and I go, I used to be in radio before I was fired. I'll record the Rosary and I'll make an app. Well, that took 1.5 years to do, because I have no idea what the Rosary's about. I can't pronounce words, and she's saying it's hallowed. I mean, it took us 1.5 years. Look at her. Look at her. Just saying, why, Sister Colleen Ann? Why? We finally got it done. Well, we got that, gave it to Apple. That app, by the way, has been downloaded 300,000 times. Pretty cool. So I decide we're going to go. I have this book for years. Finally, one day, 2 years before I went to Fatima, there's a little address here, and I wrote it. I said, hi, I'm Kevin Matthews. I used to do radio, da-da-da-da-da. I'd like to hear more about the Fatima statue, da-da-da-da-da. She writes me back. We talk for 2 hours. She invites us to Fatima. Okay, where's that? Portugal. Okay, where's that? So we decide, Sister, I'm going to take you to Fatima. Father Mark, we're going to Fatima. Okay, here, one more slide, then we'll take a bathroom break. There is number, let's see, I'm sorry, 6. So we decide, because of this booklet, I've met the people that are in charge of Fatima, okay? And they run the whole deal. And they said to Father Mark, come and say Mass. He did 2 Masses. We are down. It's the anniversary, 2017 of Fatima. Father Mark gets to say Mass. Sister and I were invited to say the Rosary. And there's a number 13. I remember I am saying the Rosary, something I didn't know how to say, in front of all these people. And Sister, I could just go through these slides and save him so much time. But what's ironic about it was, no, that's not it. Here, hang on. It worked fine during rehearsal. Okay, here, I've got to find this one. I have to. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. The cross, Heaven, Santa, Mother Teresa, the concrete statue. What? Yeah, just go through them. Not that one. That's Bernadette. I love her. I love her. Padre Pio, great. That one's good. That one's good. Nope. Yep. The children. Nope. 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 It's not there. That's it. Okay, got it. That's where you say the Rosary at Fatima. And seriously, in all honesty, I was so honored by them to say the Rosary at Fatima. And if you look, that's the Fatima statue. That's the one John Paul. It's got his bullet that hit him in the crown. And there's Mary looking at you. This is where the apparition took place. The actual apparition took place. And it's as though Mary was looking down at me, and I had come a long way. And it's like, Mary, I love you so much. Thank you. I'm here in Fatima. And when we went to Fatima, we were asked by Faith magazine if we'd all journal about Fatima. Fatima is, again, where the apparitions took place with the 3 children. I can remember when I got on Fatima, the grounds, I've never felt so much sadness in all my life. Seriously, I felt so sad. And I told that to Father Mark, I feel so sad. Mary, when she appeared to the 3 shepherd children, she's very sad because no one was listening to her son. And I still get that sadness. We're about to leave, and there's these moments where it's almost like Bernadette Subaru when she went to go look for wood with her sister and a friend. She couldn't cross the river. She had to stay and be by herself. And at that moment, that's when Mary appeared to her, or God. That's that moment that it's a moment that we all experience. In Fatima, in August, the 3 children were pretty much in jail. They couldn't come to the apparition site in August. So here I am in front of this concrete statue of Mary where she appeared to the children in August, all by myself. Father Mark and sister have gone. I'm by myself. And I looked at Mary and I said, Mary, I wrote the book. I've got 2 rosary apps. Now what? And as soon as I said, now what, I realized how derogatory that was. Now what? And this thing came whizzing by my head and smashed to the ground. And what I thought when it hit the ground, I said, whatever that was, if it would have hit me, would have killed me. Right by my ear, smashed. It's this giant pine cone. Pine cone is seeds. And it was though Mary was saying to me in my heart, you don't have to do anything. Continue to plant my seeds. And the seeds are her rosary. The rosary. Mary gave us the rosary. It's not for just old ladies. It's the most powerful weapon on earth. 12th century, Father Dominic in France gave it as a weapon against sin. Tonight I have rosaries that have been blessed. Take them and use them. I'll leave you with this. Like these little children, Jacinta and Francisco and Lucy, or little Bernadette Subaru, they were children. They were innocent children. And they became saints because when you say the rosary, you are literally holding Mary's hand. She gave it to us. And when you hold her hand, you're holding the power of God. Anything's possible. It's as though when you devote your life to the rosary, and you have an app now, you can hear me narrate the rosary. For whatever that's worth, it might cause an accident, I don't know. But you can download Broken Mary, you can be driving, you have time to say the rosary. And you are entering the school of Mary, as we call it. Because Mary, when you say the rosary every day, it becomes more than just a prayer. It's her grace. Mary holds you so tight, she will mold you to become Jesus Christ, her son. That's what she wants. I ask you, you got to be a saint to go to heaven. Not canonized, but every man, I know me, I'll talk for the men, you have to earn the virtue of Mary, the grace of Mary. And to do that, say the rosary, because she holds you so close to her, you become Jesus Christ. That's not blasphemy. She wants you to become Jesus, her son. We're related. Jesus was given birth by Mary, but Mary is our mother. She is the queen of heaven and earth. She loves you so much. You saw those pictures of Mother Teresa. And Mother Teresa, we suffer. I have a friend here tonight who I met in Chicago, Cor. Cor, could you stand? Just, thank you, Cor. Cor, thank you, Cor. I was in a church. This rosary is very, very special. I had someone call up and say, hey, I'm to make you a rosary. And what do you want it to look like? And I said, well, I had no idea who this person is. I can't contact this person again. I have no idea who this person is. It's as though he's an angel. Gave me this rosary, and he said, what do you want it to look like? And I said, well, I love Bernadette Subaru, and a lot of broken people are taking the statue of Broken Mary, and Bernadette had yellow roses on her feet when she appeared to Bernadette. So I said, make the beads out of yellow. And I got this back. I was invited to go to Notre Dame just last year. And I didn't know Notre Dame had a grotto of Lourdes there. And there's a rock that said, this rock is from Lourdes. And I took this rosary out with the booklet that I always keep, and I walked and I put the rosary on the rock of Lourdes. And I said, Mary, Mother, bless this. For anybody who's sick, bless this. And I put it in my little leather pouch, said Hail Marys, put it in the pouch and put it in my pocket. And as I'm walking back to the car, my pocket's on fire. It's burning so hot. And even the person I was with said, feel this, isn't this hot? He goes, yeah, it's really hot. And I know Mary blessed this rosary. Cor is somebody I have no idea who she was. I was speaking, I don't know, about 7 months ago in a church here in Chicago. Cor walked through the door. My friend Mike saw this. And out of nowhere, that voice, as though it was Mary saying, go to her and pray with the rosary. I didn't have an idea who she was. I walked up to Cor and I go, can you come with me? We're supposed to pray. And we went up to the statue of Mary before the talk, and we said 3 Hail Marys. Even Cor told me afterwards when we talked, I said, I just felt Mary wants you to be, you're going to be okay. She wants you to know she loves you. She goes, wow, that rosary's hot. Cor has had breast cancer, and she's going through treatment. Doctors can't find any more breast cancer, but she's going through treatment. And I know that Mary just kissed her, loves her as a daughter, loves you as a daughter, you as a son, you as a son, you as a son, you as a son, daughter, 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 son, 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 daughter, daughter, daughter. All of us. Whenever you need a mother, you say what Mother Teresa, she's holding that little baby. Look at this little baby, suffering. I'm learning more about suffering. We are here on earth we're here, God's not making us, didn't give Cor cancer. We're humans. Whenever it got tough and gets tough with me, I pray to saints. I've prayed to Mother Teresa so many times, Padre Pio, Bernadette, John Paul. They're like baseball cards. I can just pull these people out and say, come and be with me right now, Mother Teresa. I'm really having a bad time. And then I realize, Mother Teresa, that little baby is dying. And look at little Mother Teresa. She knew how powerful prayer and the rosary was. Yeah, she got mad at God because it was hot in Calcutta. Think of the stench and the humidity and babies dying in her arms. But that little baby, look at that little baby, without Mother Teresa, without Mary, the Virgin Mary, without Jesus Christ, without God, that little baby would be tormented even more. I love Mother Teresa. I love children. I love the unborn children. Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? When I see the things that are happening with the unborn and with children dying on a table, will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? You have to choose. You have to. Because if you deny Jesus Christ on earth, he will deny you in front of his Father in heaven. He says that. That's not me, Kevin Matthews. I want you to know that you are loved. And again, the Rosary. Folks, I see people and I've never been happier in my life. I don't have anything. I have everything. I said that. I am the happiest I've ever been. Before I left Fatima, the Carmelite Center where Sister Lucy became a Carmelite nun and passed away in 2005, there's a statue of Mary, and her heart is bleeding. And I said to Mary, Mary, I caused your heart to bleed. I did. I said, I will never, ever make your heart bleed again. Ever. I will die for you, Mary. I often say to people when they dismarry, like Father Dominic, the saint that got the first rosary, his mother dreamed that she dreamt that she was going to give birth to a son. And the son was a dog of God that breathed fire. And I thought, I want to be one of them. I want to be a dog of God. And so when people dismarry, I turn into this timber wolf, this dog of God, and I will protect everything that is holy, that's created by Jesus Christ, especially anything that has touched Mary. I love her. She loves you. Here it is, Lent. Celebrate your mother. I'd love to meet you and sign books, and I would like you folks to come up and be with Mary. This is a concrete statue, but Mary is here. She's here in this house, this church, in Riverside. You were meant to be here tonight, not to see me. I'm just old horsehead. She's here. Where there's Mary, there's Jesus. Where there's Jesus, there's God. It's not hard. So thank you so much for your hospitality, and God bless you all. Thank you. We'll go sign books. Thank you. And please, you can come up and be with Mary. And we do have rosaries for you down at, please take these. These are handmade. These are made specifically by women in Arizona that I know very well. They are given over in the Middle East to Christians that have been persecuted. So please have these rosaries. There's plenty more, and they've been blessed downstairs. So thank you, Jen.
Thank you. Everyone is welcome to come downstairs.
And
just as a reminder, we do have the Knights are saying the rosary after the 5 p.m. Mass this Sunday for anyone that's interested in coming.
So, anybody questions, anything? How about we just do the book and get out? That was 20 minutes, right?
Close.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll see you downstairs. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hey, thank you so much.